be back. We're going to run to Walmart. But that was quality time for us to get out and connect. Just riding on the highway and not having many cars on the highway. Just doing just basic old normal, not abnormal stuff that I would normally do. I was going to the grocery store every day because that was a way for me to see people and connect with people. There was no other way. I could talk to them on the phone, but that's a whole different world. That's a whole different world. So that was a struggle for that was a struggle for me. Who else we got on here with some other I struggle to bring home with all that must be that's actually struggle home with all the males. I need the girl. Yeah, girl time is important. Girl time is important. We don't realize we need that girl time until it's taken away. Or we need that interaction until it's taken away. And a lot of people say, I heard some people say, well, you know what? This is the time for you to find you and connect with you. Well, hell, I know me. Nah, I need to connect with some other people. No, 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 no. I need to be able to connect with some other people because sometimes other connections allows you to open up and stuff that you might be holding in your head or weighing on your shoulder, you can release some of those things. So it's always important to conversate and talk and chat with people. So let's
That's just y'all extroverts. Us introverts, we are fine. We be sitting here talking to our journals,
girl.
talking to our pen pals,
Mm-mm,
talking to our books, getting that release over here.
girl.
It's
Mm-mm,
y'all who
mm-mm,
cannot stand being inside. I know one of
mm-mm.
the
Hey
first
cousin.
two words when they say lockdown for 2 weeks, y'all when they're anxiety.
Baby,
That's why a lot of people are having anxiety and
they
depression.
are. They
It's
really
most
are.
of the extroverts because they can't get that human connection.
Cause
So
you
I was
can't.
fine over here. I was
Yeah,
like,
girl. My doctor told her, she said, well, you know what? You should start journaling. And so one of the things I said to her, I said, ma'am, the journal don't talk back to me. And she was like, yeah, I know, but it'll help you release. And so that's the difficult piece is I journal. I journal because it allows me to get some of the things that I have in my head down on paper. Because the struggle for me is my mind is racing all the time. My mind never settles. And so my mind's constantly racing. So she was like, Miss Brooks, you should just journal. And I'm like, the journal can't talk to me. The journal ain't saying nothing else back to me. I'm writing all this stuff to the journal ain't even responding. So I'm like, for me, I needed to have that interaction. I truly needed to have it. The next question I have on here is, how have quarantine affected you mentally? I share with how it affected me mentally. I just never seemed to be able to turn off my mind. Like I never could turn it off. It was always racing. I always felt like I had 50 million tasks to do and I wouldn't get one of them done. And so the cool part for me that's helping me with journaling is I now take and I write down, I do my journal. I discuss prior to the day before on my journal, and then I then make a task list of what I need to accomplish for the current day. But I only allow myself 3 tasks because I was putting so many tasks on my list that I wasn't completing them, and so then I would feel defeated by the end of the day. So for me, that was the mental thing that I had to get through, the mental challenges that I had to get through. All right. So let's move on to the next one. What are some wins and gains during quarantine? All right, so I'm gonna let you go first on this one. What's some wins that you feel like you've gained during this quarantine time? Okay, I think my co-host done froze. So can you hear me? Okay, so I think she done froze. So I'm gonna X you out and then let's have you come back in. Request to come back in. Okay, so I had to log her out. So go ahead and log yourself back in or request back in. Hey Marvin, how are you? Hey nephew. So Cardell said there was some anxiety moments in the beginning with not knowing what was real and false versus what was real versus false information. But I still work. Sorry, but I still worked and traveled and wore my mask and washed my hands and prayed and tried to keep my family safe. That's the most important thing. The most important thing that I think people truly need to take from this is, even though we know there's so much misinformation out there, there's a ton of misinformation out there. And because there's a ton of misinformation out there, we definitely needed to make sure we did the top things: protect ourselves, protect our families, and if we're out in public, do the things that they requested. Listen, we're more protected with that mask than without that mask. It's the unknown. We don't know. It's not like COVID is laying on a surface and say, "Oh, touch me so I can give you COVID." It's not like that's out there. It's a ghost. We don't know who have it. There's people around here walking around that's giving it to people, but they don't even know that they're the carrier of it. So that's why it's important to do the things that we need to do to make sure that we're covering ourselves to protect ourselves. So Cardell, you're right. Don't let quarantine, don't let COVID stop you from allowing you to be you. There's some restrictions that we have to follow and we should follow because it's important for us to do that. But in the same token, don't let it strip away exactly what, you know, exactly who we are because of this quarantine. So Taranza said, it slowed me down. I didn't realize how much I did on a daily basis. Oh, baby, baby, baby. That's the thing. Like, I didn't realize a lot was task until I had to slow down. And so my husband said, he would say to me all the time, Nella, just sit down, Nella, just sit down. And I would sit down, y'all, for 2 minutes, and 2 minutes later, I'm back up because my mind is telling me there was other things I needed to do. And so that was a struggle for me. Um, and so my niece Laurenisha said, I've gained better management during quarantine. Yeah, to allow you to prioritize what's important. And so that's what's key. We definitely need to prioritize what's important. The win for me was, I'm gonna say, welcome back. You kind of froze a little bit. The win for me was I got a chance to sit down and think. I knew I was coming back with Auntee Nella, but I just didn't know when. But quarantine allowed me to take the opportunity to sit down and figure this whole thing out. And so that was the key thing for me. So, so tell me, what are some wins or gains you did during quarantine? I hear like a feedback. Do you have your Do you have your speaker on? Because I'm hearing feedback. You hearing it? Okay.
I had more things during quarantine. It's like my plate got fuller.
Uh huh. It did. It made you think of what's important and what's not important, and that's key.
I think something is wrong with the audio, Nella.
You can't hear it. It should be It should be balanced back. Is it fine? I think it was the audio before when you took out your earbud. What about the audio now, you guys? Are you guys still having problems with the audio?
I took it out because we were having problems with the audio. That's why I put it back in.
Okay. Are we still having problems, guys? Comment below and let me know. Okay, I think we're good. Okay, so it's okay now. Thank you. Hey, Miss White, how are you? So Miss White said the whole pandemic thing kept me with depression and anxiety, and I'm so used to going places. So now I'm wearing a mask and keeping my hands clean, and I pray daily for strength. And COVID is real. Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. It threw a whole monkey in a wrench for me. It threw this whole thing. I was thrown completely off. So I agree with you. I agree with you. That was the biggest challenge. But the win is, for me, I felt like being home, um, it allowed me to be grounded with family. I've always thought family was important, you guys. Always. Anybody who know me know that family is important to me. And so COVID just made it even more serious to hone down in and let your loved ones know that you love them. communicate, have conversation with them because it's important. I lost during COVID. It haven't affected me as far as immediate family. Um, but I'll tell you this much. I lost classmates. I lost classmates in Louisiana from COVID who were my age and older. Um, I don't know if you guys remember when I did my live, I think last year or so, I had a girl who was on here. Her name was Raynell, and she was the one who won my T-shirt. And she was in, I forgot what, she was in Louisiana, some part of Louisiana, but not in New Orleans. But she passed away from COVID. And when I tell you that thing hit me hard because you don't really realize until somebody passed away, and once they pass away, you're like, wow. You're like, wow. My sister, and those were two of my sister two closest friends. She lost two. She lost Sabrina, and she also lost um Renelle. And she was really close to them. And so those things kind of hit us really hard because you just never know. Like I would never have thought I would be putting rest in peace behind these people's name. And so this pandemic just threw a monkey wrench because it's just crazy the way things are going. But let's jump into the next question. I want you guys to tell me truly, how is your household holding up during this time? Honestly, with your kids, with your spouses. Um, it could be, distant parents outside of the house. How are you truly holding up through all of this? Because the struggle of it all is I don't care how you crumble the cookie, I don't care what you do. If quarantine didn't affect you in some way, something's not right. This quarantine and this pandemic had to affect you in some way. It would have had to affect you in some way. And so let me know how your household is holding up. So until the
I had
next,
to comment on this one. I had to comment on this one.
what you
I
comment?
am an
So,
introvert and my husband is an extrovert.
hmm absolutely. Um, tell me what you how your
And somebody needs to come and get him. Somebody needs to come and get him.
you gonna leave my
That's all
nephew
I'm saying.
alone. You gonna leave my nephew alone. He like me. He used to being able to do stuff and get out and like I'm up at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm fix. Listen, y'all. I fix breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That's the thing I'm tired of. I'm tired of fixing
I'm
breakfast,
about to
lunch,
pull
and dinner. I feel like I feel like look, I feel like I'm the maid from the help. That's what I feel like. That's how much I'm doing. So Marvin said, as a veteran who spent 12 hours or more masked up in chemical suits, wear your mask, protect others, keep your distance, and have common sense, correct, and make a daily task list to keep your mind and physical spirit calm. Take no risk. I have lost family and friends to this. My son has had COVID. Take life seriously. Absolutely. And that's what we need to do. You got to be smart on this thing. Ain't no winning it, ain't no getting around it, ain't no climbing over it, ain't no ducking under it because it's here. It's a new way of life. It's a new way of living, y'all. We got to make sure we do what we need to do. Connect with your babies, connect with your kids, connect with your, listen, don't be afraid to connect with your spouse or your older kids and say, you know what? I know this COVID thing is something. How are you holding up? Ask the simple question because you don't know by asking that simple question how it may help that person. We don't want anybody to have to go, deal with this situation in silence. Dealing with it in silence is the worst thing ever. It's the worst thing ever. So Ms. White said, I was too. The virtual learning was something new. I was crying because doing different grandkids with it, did not know what to do or how. My dad has cancer. Um,
Right.
I'll be scared. I'm scared for him. We try holding up for quarantine. For for geez, it can be stressful. You're right. That's a lot on your plate, Miss White. That's a lot on your plate. And that's why it's important to allow avenues for people to be able to get out and share that. Because let me tell you something. I graduated in 1987. And so now I got my son and my grandson doing doing hybrid learning. Lord Jesus, Lord Jesus. I had to tell the teacher, I said, ma'am, I bow down to y'all. And she was like, why? I was like, let me tell y'all something. This god doggone match y'all teaching them. Listen, when we was in school, 1 + 1 = 1. How did you get 1 + 1? I put one at the top, I put one at the bottom, and I got two. But this math they teaching them, baby, you got to figure out the division, how to get to the division, how to get to the answer, break it down. You got 5 different steps to get to a final answer. When I tell you I was looking at that stuff cockeyed, I said, why I just can't give you the answer? 3 goes into 120 something, here go your answer. No, they didn't want that. They wanted 5 different steps to get to that doggone answer. And so I thought I was losing my mind. I had one time I said, Lord, listen, if I was in school and they're in school now, babe, I'd be in special ed. Because this math, I promise you, if I was in school today and they gave me the stuff they give these kids today, and I'm talking about a 9-year-old, my son is 9 and my grandson is 10, and they give you what they're giving them, babe, I'd have been in special ed riding that little bus looking out the window. I'd have been riding happy. Looking out the window drawing. Girl, I promise you, I got to the point that, and I'm the person that, when I'm helping my son, my grandson, I want to be able to give them how I got to the answer. So I found myself YouTubing, I found myself Googling, I went to my daughter. I said, Lord, I don't understand this. But once you explain it to me, I get it. And once I can see how they got to the answer online, I got it. But outside of that, babe, I felt, girl, when I tell you, I felt special like I don't know what. I said, Jesus, take the wheel because this is way too much and this is way too heavy. Now you got me teaching these kids, and I don't got no education when it comes to going to school for learn how to teach these kids on that. But we got to now, and I say this, and I said this to several teachers. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Anybody that's out there in schools that's teaching kids, I appreciate what y'all do. Because when I tell you I'm struggling with 2 children, I don't know how they struggle with 20. I couldn't, girl, I can't even stay focused on trying to help 2 at one time. So how do the teacher, girl, girl, I don't know what I was thinking. I said, now how the world do the teacher keep the kids on task? How do they keep them on task? So I bow down to y'all teachers and y'all people who work in the school system and all that stuff. I bow down to y'all because it's a hard job. It's a hard task and it's not easy. It's not easy at all. So that's the hardest part for me. The mat, girl, Lord,
Mm-mm.
Lord.
That's not my story. I just have a husband here
Mm.
that because he can't go outside, he's right here every day.
You got to
And I'm like,
entertain him.
Jesus.
You ain't got no cheering, but you got to entertain him.
No, ma'am.
Find a dull way to entertain him, girl. You better find a way. Listen.
I entertain him, but I'm used to my space. And so I would say what COVID has done for me. It took away my private space.
Yes.
My private time.
I agree.
My time alone that I get before my husband come home. That's
Yep.
what that took away from me.
Yep.
So in that extra spec, I would just say, I have to find that place, in my home to go to get up. So I have to hide from him. Let me say that. I will run and hide from him.
I agree.
So I'm glad I got a house where I can go and run and hide from him. And but the most part, he's in here like backflipping, jumping. What we gonna do? We can't go nowhere. Let's do this. Let's do that. And then
y'all should call me. I'll tell y'all what y'all could do. Call me.
No, ma'am. No.
Mm-mm.
I'm just I'm gonna drink my tea on that.
Correct.
No,
Correct.
Let me tell you something. There's enough that you can do. Now, the first 2 weeks, yes, okay, let's do that. But after that, you looking like, listen.
No, ma'am.
Because you bored. You know how you emotionally eat?
Yep.
You ain't gonna be emotionally over here because you bored. No, ma'am.
The
ma'am.
devil's a liar.
No.
Mm-mm.
I'm gonna sip my coffee on. I'm gonna sip my tea on that.
I'm telling you, listen, where there's a will, there's a way. I said this and I'll keep saying this. Family is important, and it allowed me to connect and build a deeper relationship with my family members in my home. Not to say that I don't deal with it outside the home, but I did in the home. It's definitely important. It's definitely important. Who said a Falcons here? Let me see who that is. All right, Scott. Who that?
On the other hand, it's just entertaining him and finding things. And I will say, as a couple, as a married couple, it really, really, really put a fire into either you're gonna stay together or you're gonna get a divorce. I think there's more divorces now in COVID than ever.
Agree.
I think this put a fire under your marriage or whoever you went to say.
Yep, you're gonna win or lose.
Yes, I could. I guess I'll go on for the ride for you. Some people was like, because I don't have that outlet here.
I agree with you 110%. I think that COVID was gonna, and we're gonna touch deep into this next week. COVID was gonna be either you win or you lose. And I think the reason for that is, I don't really think the reason for it, though. I know the reason for it. We were so busy hustling, bustling, work and life and doing and running. We never took time, where there's a lot of couples that never took time to spend quality time with their mates. So it was always, okay, I'm going home cook, I'm going home clean, I'm going to get the kids ready for school, I'm going to make sure they're on the bus. It was always a task to do. And so we was just running around. But what quarantine did is, quarantine made you be still. Be still. And that's God talking to us. We needed that time. We needed that break. We needed that relaxation. God said to us, be still. Quarantine came out and said, be still. You need to sit, listen, and connect with yourself. And so,
can you send that out to all the extroverts?
Girl, please, girl. I couldn't, girl, listen.
Send it out to all the extroverts.
It was so bad, ma'am. It was so bad, Lord. I would be sitting down and say, I'm gonna sit down for like a minute or I'm gonna sit down for like about an hour and just take a rest. Girl, I sit down for 2 minutes, my leg go to shaking. I stop that leg, my other leg go to shaking. I said, well, Lord, let me just get on up and find something to do. I started finding stuff to do. It would be to the point where I would prep breakfast meals for the next morning because I needed to be doing something. I needed to do something. And so I agree with you. Yeah, it definitely a struggle. So Marvin said he got 24 years of marriage. If anything, we reconnected. I agree. I'm in my.
I agree with
I agree
because then it made you really look at each other. You had nobody else to blame but each other. So I do agree with that. It made you reconnect on a different level, not the level before.
No, it made you reconnect on 2 levels.
Shut up.
It made you.
What's the 2 levels?
Listen. It made me reconnect on the level of just spending quality time with my husband, being able to sit and chat and having that length of time. But baby, it also made us connect in a boom boom room. Baby, when I said, listen, I'm well rested. He well rested. So why we can't introduce the doggone boom boom room? So I'm just saying, it's Anybody who know Auntie Nella, I'm straightforward. It's important. The boom boom room is important to have with you and your mate. Um, me, you know, one
What's the boom boom room? Hold on, for the followers and the viewers that's on this live version. What's the boom boom room? In
is
PG form.
is
Wait, hold on. In
is
PG form.
it's your sex cave for you and your husband. That's your sex cave for you and your husband. If you haven't figured out a way, if you haven't figured out a way to make sure that's important, then you're struggling. You're struggling because listen, just as important it is to connect with self, connect with your spouse on a level of having a conversation and communicating, connecting with your kids, all of that good stuff. It's darn sure important to connect in the boom boom room in your sex cave.
How many times a day you can do it in a boom boom room?
You don't have to do it every day. It's not
Yeah, we got all the time.
listen. Go put the dog out, you guys. It's not. It's not about every. When I say the sex room or the boom boom room, I'm not saying you got to be a robot and a rabbit like. Mm, mm,
Yeah, well,
mm.
that's what I'm getting.
No, I'm not saying that. But listen. To each his own. To each is his own. If they choose to go 3 times a week, they do it. That's up to them. If they choose to do one time, that's up to them. But you got to connect, man. You got to make
Well, you
sure.
can connect. Okay, I agree with connecting, but there's so much connecting that the boom boom room could make you. At some point, you're gonna have to tap up and get some rest. That's all I'm gonna say.
You could when you gonna tap out. Then
You
that means you
have to
put
tap
then
up.
that means you putting extra stress on yourself for nothing. Where Alexa here. Alexa, can you talk to your wife, Alexa? What she tapping out for? What you doing, nephew?
You
She
got
tap.
it, girl. You got
I do come up for air. I come up for air, drink me a pop and a bottle of water. We good. We good. We good. I'm just saying. Just have me a cold. Listen, listen, listen. Just have me a cold Dr. Pepper with some slushy ice in it and a nice bottle of water with some slushy ice in it. And baby, when I come up for air and I chug it out, I'm good to go. I'm good to go. Remember the boom boom room is your sex cave. Yes. And wait a minute. Wait a minute. Why are we doing that? Because so I'm doing the less chat, but also on Fridays to kind of get back into the mix of. So I used to do ex Auntie Nella and I used to do After Dark. Well, now I'm doing less chat with Auntie Nella, and then I'm gonna do Freaky Friday with Auntie Nella. So on Fridays, I want y'all to bring y'all freaky questions. We gonna talk. We gonna talk this thing out because let me tell you what quarantine ain't gonna do. Quarantine ain't gonna deprive you of your goodies. That's what quarantine ain't gonna do. And I'm gonna help you out to make sure quarantine ain't gonna deprive you. Hey, big brother. Hey, Greg. I'm gonna make sure.
I need to know what vitamins you taking.
Girl, B12, B6, all the bees, all the bees, all the bees, every last one of them. Give me all the B's, the C's, the D. I definitely take the D's. Babe, I definitely take the D's. So
I'm not even gonna ask you. I'm about to be real in.
I'm telling you,
What is vitamin? I know you take the D. I know
baby.
you take the D.
Hmm. Vitamin D is that Dunkin' Donut. That's what vitamin D
Well,
is. Is that Dunkin' Donut.
I'm not about to
And I
put you
love
on
me
this
some
live.
Dunkin' Donuts. So
I'm
I'm
not
just
about to put
saying.
you on this
Hmm.
live.
Cool. You see, Taranza said in the D too. Correct, Taranza. I take the D. My doctor, listen, the doctor prescribed me the D. Vitamin D, the doctor prescribed it for me. And so I'm doing what
She
my
ain't talking
doctor
about that.
says.
She ain't talking
I,
about the other
I'm doing what
vitamin.
my doctor said. My doctor had told me that. Miss you, big brother, too. All right, so let's go to the next question. Who made self care a priority during quarantine? Y'all, the part for me was I'm this person that I love to be able take care of other people. Like I'm a person that's always out to be able to do for other people. But it was never important for me to do self-care for myself. And so I had the analogy that self-care was as long as I'm doing for somebody else and I'm happy about doing it for somebody else, that's taking care of my self-care. Well, I had to learn, no, sister girl, that's not it. Self-care is something you need to take time for yourself. You need to be able to do things for yourself, whether it's journaling, whether it's like, you know what, I'm gonna get out and I'm gonna go to the store and I'm gonna buy me one, two, three little, items. I'm gonna go, well, we can't go to the restaurant. Well, our restaurant just open up here. But if you just go to the restaurants and sit down and just eat, but it's self-care of taking care of you. Share with me what are some self-care techniques that you chose to do, or you've learned during this quarantine. I've learned that I have to take time for me. I wasn't taking time for me. Everybody else was important to me than me. And so I had to learn that it's important for me to take care of me. So share with me. Mm-hmm.
I got me some in-home massages. I got my massage therapist coming to my house
Oh,
and
that's
she
good.
give me a massage every other Saturday. So I think that was something new. I always did the self-care kind of thing, but this time it was really
Hey, Yella.
new ways on how to do self-care.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yes.
they'll say that we meditating more. I did do
Yeah,
that.
I did do
have
that.
to meditate on this extrovert in my house, so I meditate a little bit more before I crack them upside the head.
I'm excited.
Send them to Jesus.
I'm excited. I was excited we was home. I was excited to wake up to the morning D. I was excited.
What? Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
I was excited. I was excited.
So that's your self-care? You just rolled over and
well, that was part of my self-care. That's important. That was part of my listen. If it gets to the point where you don't get the chance to, well, for me, I'm gonna say, I can't say for nobody else. I'm gonna say for me, if that's not incorporated in my self-care, then it's a problem for me. That's for me because that's important to me. I don't know if it's important to y'all, but it's important to me. It's important to me.
I don't even know why I'm about to ask you this.
Girl, ask me that question so I can answer.
What's gonna happen now years down the line when you can't roll over and get the vitamin D? What's gonna happen to you?
Who told you I ain't gonna be able to roll over? Who told you that?
Years go on, as years go on, you can't roll over.
Listen.
And get on it.
Let me tell y'all one thing. Somebody said this on TV the other day. They was like, somebody said, I heard this on a reel. I think I heard on. They said that people think that when you turn 50, your sex drive goes down the drain. That's a lie, and I mean a lie. I'm 52. I'll be 53 in September. And when I tell you, baby, I'm so excited. And I ain't slowing down. I feel like it's speeding up for me. But just in case you asking for the question, when I get to 60, maybe 60, that's why you got side. Turn on your side. He not inserted. Turn on your side. I might not be able to move as fast, but baby, I'm gonna get that twirling. I promise you I am. Yeah. What you mean? What it mean? Not as straight? Oh no, girl, they don't shrink. They ain't gonna shrink. No, baby. Listen, if it curves, it's gonna make it even better. Cause it's gonna hit the walls that it ain't hit years. It ain't hit in years. You asked me the question. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Listen. I'm just saying. Surrounds a yeah, girl. I'm gonna do that twirl. That little wiggling twirl. I might not be able to do it fast, but I'm gonna get that twirl in. Look, Scott said for the men. You gonna take that little blue pill. Yeah, that's what the men better take that blue pill. So let me see what she said, girl.
Alternatives you might suggest other than a D. For me, money on a serious note, go get you some massages, girl. Go get you a facial.
Amani.
Go get you some things like that because the
Mm,
vitamin D is not your alternative right now
mm,
until till you get married. I
mm,
agree with that. I
mm,
agree with you, girl.
mm. Listen, there's
Wait, what is
that.
vitamin T, Cordell?
Where was vitamin C? I want to know what that. That's the
No, no,
thrill.
no, no. I'm
I'm
waiting
just
on you to
saying.
answer that. So,
But let me say this though. Let me say this. All jokes aside, if you are if you're truly a person that you're not in a place for the vitamin D, and spiritually, you're just focusing on you. There's a lot of things that you can do. Meditate, pray, journal, take time to yourself, figure out things that you can do to make your temple healthy. That's the things that,
exercising.
yes,
Go
that's
take an exercise.
correct.
Release
Eat,
stress. That
focus
helps
on eating
a
healthy
lot.
stuff. It does. Focus on eating healthy stuff. But for the other people who looking for, other stuff, but they don't have the D, there's toys. That's your preference. And
Wait
some
a
people,
minute. Some
listen,
people
I
don't
just
want toys.
listen what I just said. I said for those people who want to work on themselves spiritual without the D, they can journal, they can pray, they can exercise, eat healthy. There's other alternatives too. But there's some people who didn't have the D and the D done left them, and so they still have the urge for the D. And so if they still got the urge for the D, they got toys out there. Listen, don't sleep on toys. I'm just saying. I'm just saying that's your preference, that's your choice. There's nothing wrong with it. That's your preference and your choice. Because let me tell you, listen, if I had to exit, if my D exit, baby, I'm not gonna be running out there, running behind every D that's out there. No, that's my self care. That's my self care. I'm a girl. I'm gonna have me a basket full of toys, a whole basket like a fruit basket, all colors, all flavors, all kind. That's what I'm gonna have. I'm gonna have a whole basket. I'm just saying. I'm gonna have a whole basket. Yeah. Some. What you said? Wait, Amani said. Wait. I'm just saying.
I'm clutching my
Some
pearls
don't
right
deserve the.
now.
Yeah, you're right. Some don't deserve the P. So that's why you keep your P to yourself and you self care and take care of it. You're right. Some don't deserve it. I agree with you. I agree with you 110. I agree with you 110%. But let me tell you, there's a lot of things you could do. You could do Pilates. Pilates is another good thing to do. You could do that. But yeah, stretching.
You can stretch, you can meditate,
It don't work
you
for
can
me. It don't work for me.
you can stretch, you can do a
It
little
don't.
meditation. Go relieve a lot of that stress. Exercise and do you some cardio.
It don't work for me.
Get a gym. Do you some pull
Mhm.
up some free YouTube videos on
Listen,
YouTube to relieve those things.
I done
Some
tried it.
people,
I done tried
you're
it.
married. You can't
I don't,
say
I don't try like exercising and stuff and be like I'm gonna wait, I ain't gonna go this week at all. And then I just be like, well, look, some gotta happen, some gotta change. Look, I'm not wait, no. I just being with my husband for 30 years and being together for 35 years. He knows me. He knows me. He knows me, and that's the good part about us being together because we know each other. And so we know that he know what's important to me and I know what's important to him. And so it's always important, that you do that. Let me tell you something, baby. Me and that D be happy.
you know what?
We be
On another
excited.
note of self-care, on another note
I'm
of
just saying.
self-care, on another note of
What
self-care,
y'all doing
you
for
know,
self-care? Tell us what y'all doing for self-care. Y'all got me spilling my beans, telling y'all my fruit basket of toys. And another thing, If you like, if you got fruit baskets of toys, make sure you get A, B, C, and D batteries. Because you're gonna need all of them. You're gonna need all the batteries. All the batteries. Because every toy, all toys is different. Some of them just take the little triple A, some of them take the double A, some of them take C's, and some of them take D. So make sure while you got your basket full of fruit, full of toys, make sure you got your basket full of batteries too. Because that's gonna make you upset if you like, oh Lord, it's time for the D9. I think I'm gonna reward myself with a toy and you ain't got no battery. You're gonna be mad. You're gonna be mad.
Let us all deep breath. Take a deep breath and
Yeah, y'all keep taking them deep breaths. That's another thing you could do for self-care. Breathing, for real. You could breathe too because that also helps to relieve, some of the stress too.
take some deep breaths
Yeah,
and release that.
we
That's
do.
another way of self
Hmm.
care. Sometimes I love sitting in a quiet room with nothing and it just slows my mind down and it just goes. That was another thing
Hmm.
for self care. But
Yeah, I shouldn't
woo
sit in
child,
a
you know, I
I
have a
shouldn't
lot of
sit in a
quarantine
quiet room.
babies listening to you.
Yeah,
You say
that,
what?
I can't be sitting in a quiet room because my mind just live. Let me tell y'all something before we wrap up. Let me tell y'all something. My mind don't operate like average people. And so when I mean my mind don't operate like average people, when if and I told my daughter this not too long ago, if somebody could tap in my mind and tap in my mind and figure out what I'm thinking, man, when I tell y'all to have a rodeo ride that y'all to be laughing for years, y'all would. My mind just don't operate normal. And I'm okay with that. I know I'm not normal. I'm normal. I'm normal. Y'all listen. They got a lot of people out there that claim they normal. They ain't I'm normal. This how I operate. No, you catch them in the bedroom. Put a video camera in that bedroom. They're gonna be swinging from the chandelier. Where you at, baby? Come on, honey. They're gonna be swinging, and then I'm gonna be looking like I I know that ain't the person who said what? She's swinging from the chandelier. I'm telling you. People say a lot of stuff. People say a lot of stuff. But I appreciate you guys coming on and chatting with Auntie Nella
I would
tonight.
never look at a fruit basket again. I
Y'all,
would never
trust
look
me.
at a fruit
Trust
basket
me.
look
Trust me.
different.
Listen,
No.
on one of my Freaky Fridays, I promise y'all, on one of my Freaky Fridays, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna
Let's
bring
hear it.
different toys and I'm gonna show you guys the different flavors of toys that are out there. Um,
Ten
listen,
flavors.
there's different flavors. There's different flavors of they got that they got edible underwears and they got different flavors of them. I don't know how they taste because I
Yes,
ain't
they
eat
do.
no edible underwears. But I'm saying they got different flavors. So they got different flavors of toys. They got different sizes. They got different colors. They got glitter ones. They got all kinds. They got little ones. They got big ones. They got huge
Oh,
ones.
Chris.
They got all kind of stuff. They got all kind of stuff out there. Mm-mm.
Congratulations, Chris.
Yeah, see, quarantine, baby. Girl, see, that's what happens. That's what happens. They're gonna pop out the woodwork. You ain't the only one, Chris. Don't worry. They got a bunch of them out there. I'm so glad I sealed the deal a while ago. After that 9 year, I was like, I have no that's too much. Too much. But y'all, all jokes aside, I truly appreciate y'all taking the time to come on here and let us discuss some quarantine health issues and allow me to put a funny spin on it. That's just who I am. I want to allow people to have an avenue to be able to just relax their mind, chill, be able to discuss some things because what you might think is good I might think a little bit different. Or what I might think is bad, you might think is good. And so it's always good. I always like doing this because it's always good to, connect. And it gives me an avenue to connect with people. It truly gives me the avenue to connect with people. Before we go, Miss White, I'm gonna keep you and your family in prayer, especially your dad. I know that's a struggle to have to deal with that. Stay connected with me and let me know how things are going with you and your dad and your family. I appreciate it, you guys. Is there anything else you guys else want to share? Oh, let's let me cover some stuff for next week. So next week we're gonna do quarantine with relationships. And so, if you guys have some questions you want me to throw out there, feel free to email me at askaunteenella@yahoo.com. And Auntie is spelled with two E's. So it's ask Auntie with two E's, Nella@yahoo.com. Send me some questions. Definitely send me some questions so we could chat next week on relationships. And it's gonna stem from relationships of how you're dealing with your relationships. I mean relationships with your spouses, relationships with people inside the home, your kids. We want to discuss some of those things, and then the following week we're gonna connect with the following week after that we're gonna do singles. How is it that singles been dealing with this? So you single people, let you other single people know that we're not leaving you guys out. We're gonna talk about single quarantine as well. All right. Let me see. Look like. Let me see who this
Oh
is.
wait, one more thing. If you guys, if you would like to be a part of the, thank you, Taranza. If you would like to be a part of
Thank you, Taranza.
um, the show, she would like to bring other people, just to
Yeah.
hear your spin on, bring you up on the stage. I don't know if
Yep.
some of y'all have Clubhouse, but that's Clubhouse language.
Yep.
Bring you up on the stage and like for you to share your views. So go ahead and send her an email and say, hey, I would like to tell my story. Or if you're talking about this, I would like to, give my little 2 cents in it. And she wouldn't mind having you come. Welcome on it. Come back, Auntee Nella.
Yes, I'm happy to be back, y'all. I'm happy to be back. I'm happy to be back. I want y'all to share this video, let your friends know. I also have a YouTube channel. Go on and subscribe, you guys. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. There's a link in the Ask Auntie Nella. I'm gonna make that public though. I didn't do it tonight, but I'm gonna make Ask Auntie Nella public, and I got a link in there. And all you have to do is click the link and subscribe. Send me some friend invites, all of that good stuff. I appreciate you guys. I thank you guys so much for sticking around. We had a blast tonight, but stay tuned for Friday. Freaky Friday. I'll be sending the topic out for Freaky Friday on Thursday. So be prepared. We're gonna discuss some Freaky Friday stuff. Don't come on here trying to hide behind your hand because you don't want to talk about some Freaky Friday stuff to that slide. She gonna say that's 18 dollar views. Yes. Yeah. 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 hmm Where my nephew at? Where my nephew at? He the extrovert. Yeah, yeah, I am. Your uncle right there. He an extrovert when it comes to that. He is. He girl. He know he just right there. He behind the camera. But anyway, y'all, I appreciate you guys. Don't forget to share my video. Don't forget to invite each other. I mean, invite friends. I'll see you guys on Friday. And then I'll see you guys again next Tuesday. All right. And if you want to be a guest on some of our shows that we discuss, just let me know. I will pull you in and we can discuss it. Thank you guys so much. Love you guys. Have a good night.